Hello, yes, thanks for tuning in. Covering Crystal's call from the charity show, Matt, Jimmy, and Forrest on the 3rd of May. And Crystal's calling in, and her argument seems to be one from design, but let's have a listen and see where she goes from it with it.
Hopefully so. You turned into a robot for a minute, but I hope that it works out.
Well, that's because we had an ambulance pull up here. Anyways.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyways, so yeah, as I was saying, I when I called in for the second time, I'm listening to your chat again, and yeah, you know, the sun in the sky. How could anybody say that is made by design?
So we know actually how stars form, and it's just
I think she's saying, how could anybody say that that's not been made by design? Just a slip of the tongue there, I think.
It's gravity, and we know how the planets are floating around it. It's a function of the shape of space. It all has to do with relativity, but with heavy objects bending space time. But really, it's just gravity, So like, you don't need design for that. You just need gravity for the exact same reason that this pen falls at 9.81 meters per second squared whenever I drop it. The sun is able to form, and planets are able to form, and things are able to orbit. Like, you don't need a god for any of that.
Well, you do need a god to open your eyes up at birth. You do need a dog.
Now, I thought she was speaking metaphorically when I heard this call for the same time, just like a priest will say, God will open your eyes if you pray hard enough. But no, she's talking literally.
Doctor, you do need some sort of teacher.
You have muscles like levator palpebrae superioris and orbicularis oculi and things like that.
Yeah, so she's appealing to design, that because the human body works so well, of course, not taking into account cancer and thousands of illnesses, etc., and all the frailties of the human body, it works reasonably well, and therefore there must have been a designer
like that open your eyes for you. See, this is the thing, Crystal, is that I don't mean to be condescending, but like, this was what, like, I believe it was.
Oh, Laplace. You're not being condescending at all.
Right. I believe it was Laplace, who was a famous physicist in France. And when Napoleon told him, like, hey, you've done so much work to explain the physics of the universe, but you never once mentioned God. Why is that? Laplace famously said, I have no need for that hypothesis. Everything that we know about the universe works just fine without a god.
On the earth somehow. Even Napoleon had to be formed out of clay somehow.
Parents. Yeah, he came from his parents, just like I did. I came from mine.
It's Matt.
Oh, but God, that means God would have had to come from a parent. Which God, if he's formless, how does he come from a parent?
Yeah, so what she said there was, I had to listen to this a few times to catch it. If God is sinless, okay, yeah, obviously the presumption there is that God is perfect. Everything that is born into sin. And if you have sin, then you're not perfect. But God is perfect, so God couldn't have been born. God must be eternal. I think that's her argument.
I don't know, Crystal. You're the one that's pretending to believe in and advocate for a God. Why don't you tell me?
Well, see the wind. You cannot see it blowing.
So, Crystal, I just accused you of pretending to believe in a god and asked you to...
Yeah, but we can detect the wind. We can test for it. Gravity, we can detect. We can measure gravity, radio waves, etc. We can't see all these things, but we can detect them. That's the point. We can't detect any God. I know what her argument is. We can't see God, but he's there, just like we can't see the wind, but the wind is there. No, we can't detect God in any way whatsoever, from what I've been able to determine from the poor evidence that's been presented to me. There's been no detection of any God.
I just asked you to defend the God that you're pretending to believe in, and you didn't even balk at it. You just went to, you can't see. Are you like recording this for a show or something?
No, I think that he should have said, we can detect the wind, we can detect radio waves, things that we can't see. We know that they're there because we can detect them. I mean, the wind, we can feel it, for example. So I think that he should have corrected her on that fallacy, but no.
No, I'm not scripted at all. I'm not scripted at all. I'm scripted by truth. I'm scripted by the movies I watch on TV, the idols that I was told not to worship.
What movie? Dumb and Dumber.
You know those old famous war ships, hey? Like the ships that sail on the sea, the Navy SEALs. I'm not or how do you say it? Or I'm not doctrined by any of those people, right? I have my own mind. I have my own body, which I believe God gave me.
Tell me more about what you believe about God.
I believe that God provided the earth kings that he did not, somebody had to have named Lord back then, right? So
this is the idea that all the kings in history have ruled by divine right.
King Charlie, for instance, he would have had to have dubbed somebody as Lord this, Lord that, Duchess this, Duchess that, Queen of this, Queen of that.
Yeah.
Just like playing cards, right? You have the King of Spades, you have the Queen of Hearts, you have the Ace of Diamonds.
Yeah. I have all 52 cards in my deck. How many have you got?
Okay, we get it. So there's a supreme ruler of the universe. Yeah, okay, we get that. How do you know it's there?
Oh, I have 51, and I'm counting cards with Captain Kangaroo every day.
Oh my gosh!
Flowers on the wall.
Captain Kangaroo. That's Bob Keeshan. I love Captain Kangaroo.
Yeah, it was a really great show back in its day, just like the class of 59 that had its dreams. You had Bob, you had Mary still on welfare, you had a bunch of mental health problems, and nobody can explain who got the first law degree in the global world.
I know.
You can't explain how... You
Nobody
can't
can
explain how
that.
Abraham became Abe Lincoln.
Okay, yeah, so we hear this a lot from theists. You can't explain everything. Yeah, I know. I can't explain everything. So what? That's no reason to believe in a God. You still have your work cut out. You still are obligated to provide evidence for the existence of the God that you believe in, even though I can't explain everything. Me not being able to explain everything does not prove the existence of your God, and the existence of you asserting that there is a God and that this God can explain everything. You haven't demonstrated anything at all, any understanding or any explanations at all. What is it that God can explain? And all I really get from theists is that, well, God made everything. How? This is the thing. How did God make everything? What are the mechanics behind it? No, well, it's like magic. And that's what she's saying. God answers all the things that we don't know. You just put it into this big sort of bag of stuff that we don't know. We admit that we don't know everything. Well, God actually accounts for everything that's in that bag. And we don't need to ask any more questions, because if you believe in God, that just answers everything. But no, it doesn't answer anything. It doesn't tell you how. What are the mechanics behind it?
Nobody can explain.
I remember on my lunchbox when it talked about Abraham becoming Abe Lincoln. I couldn't explain it then. I still can't.
Nobody can explain how the first army man got put on the earth, how the first army man got put on the earth, how the first teardrop fell, how any... Well,
the question should now be is, okay, yeah, so we can't explain that. Nobody knows. Does God know? And or how does believing in a God help you with answering that question?
Thing can happen. Why have they got historical facts wrong? Why are they hiding it? Like the Guns N' Roses song said, is the war all in people's heads?
And how do we figure out what the truth is?
How do we figure out what the truth is? We get the times right. We pray. We ask God for guidance.
All right. Okay, well, good. I mean, she got there. Matt got her there. She answered the question, how does God help? Well, we pray to God and we ask questions. We ask for guidance. All right. Okay.
We ask a higher power what we believe in.
What
we ask maybe pray to Jesus.
What if I ask a higher power, but I don't actually believe in one? Like, if I don't believe in a higher power, what should I ask?
Well, I don't know. Maybe ask the void space that you believe in.
Okay, but if I
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I understand from science that we can describe gravity, we can express it mathematically, we can make predictions by it, etc. But I understand, maybe I'm wrong, but we don't know exactly why it is that we've got gravity, how it sort of works, what generates it. We don't. There are things we still don't know about gravity, basically. So we don't know that. It's a gap in our knowledge. If we pray to God for an answer, God tell us, fill our knowledge about gravity. What kind of response are we going to get? Are we going to get an answer, or should we rely on that, or should we keep investigating with science? That's the point that Matt's getting at, of course. How do we figure these things out? There's only one way, and that's by scientific inquiry, because praying to God is not going to deliver those answers to us.
if I don't get an
Because
answer,
one day, it even writes it in the Bible. One day the world will end. It doesn't say which day it will be.
You're right. It
doesn't say
which
who is going to see the resurrection. It doesn't say it. There's no proof of who actually saw the resurrection. There's proof of who saw Hiroshima, who saw Nagasaki, who saw this one, who saw the atomic bomb go down, but there's no proof of, the resurrection itself. Why is that? Has anybody got an answer to that? Probably not. The war started in...
Well, there's no proof. There's no evidence for the resurrection, because if it happened a long time ago. There are no witnesses. We've just simply got no evidence. There are lots of things that that could be claimed to have happened in the distant past that we haven't got evidence for, and the resurrection is just another one of those things. We haven't got evidence. Why? We just haven't got it. There's no specific reason.
1914, or was it started in 1941?
Okay, I think I better leave it there. So she's presented, in a sort of unstructured kind of way, a couple of arguments. The first cause argument that everything must have come from somewhere. God can't have been parented. God couldn't have been caused, because God is perfect. God is sinless, so couldn't have been caused, and God was the first cause. And that because everything in nature seems to work, seems to have a purpose, like we can open our eyes, therefore there must have been a designer. Forrest said no, it's just evolution, it's naturalistic forces only. She's also said that there are things exist that we can't see, just like we can't see God, and but that doesn't mean that God doesn't exist. Matt unfortunately didn't point out that we can detect these things that we can't see. That's how we know that they exist, but we can't detect God. So yeah, okay, so she presented a number of poor arguments basically for the existence of God, and I'm going to cut short my review because she then started singing some silly song which Matt said he liked, and then the call just I think they believe that she's a troll. I'm not really sure if she is, but I don't know what you think. I don't think that she's a troll anyway. Okay, well, that's all. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now.